Okay, so this video, this is part 2 of our video. We have done our first ladder row and we have joined it. That was in video part 1. Now on part 2, I'm going to show you how to what's called jump up, which is to start a new row and do a new row and then close that row. Okay, so there's 3 steps to it. And the goal is to go from this to this. Okay, this is our first row that was done in part 1. Now part 2, we're going to build on top of that first row, and we're going to build 6 rows. Okay, the way you know you've done 6 rows is you don't count the bottom bead, you count the center beads. Okay, here's a center, 1, 2, 3. Let me show you again. Hold it tight. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. When you have 6 center beads going up, then you know you have 6 rows. Remember, once again, we don't count these beads. This is the bottom of the row. We count the center beads, the ones that are in the center of our foursome. Okay? So let me go ahead and show you how we go from our part 1, where we learned how to make a ladder row and join it. We've got it crisscrossed in this bead right here. So what is the first thing I'm going to show you is how to jump up. Okay, when we jump up, we always think of 3 beads. Okay, jump up. Whenever we have one row completely done and we need to start a new row, we're going to remember 3 beads. Now let me show you what we do with those 3 beads, okay? So we take our crisscrossed, or our strings right here that are in the crisscross bead. We're going to add, I'm going to turn it this way so it'll be a little easier for me to work with. Okay, we're going to add 2 of those beads to the left side, left string. Oops, they don't get away from me here. So we're going to take 2 of those beads, add on to the left string, okay, and we'll take the 3rd bead and crisscross it. Okay, so we're going to crisscross the 3rd bead. Now I'm going to show you what will happen when you do this. You will see how we just jumped up a row. So you pull it. Sometimes you can wrap the string around your hands. Now look closely. Remember, everything we're making is little foursome diamonds. Do you see that little diamond there? So we were crisscrossed in that. We added 2 beads to the left side and we crisscrossed this bead. So it just took us around and we're crisscross coming out of that bead. Okay? That is called the jump up. Every time you finish a row, you will do what's called a jump up with 3 beads. Remember, 2 on the left, crisscross 1. That is how we do a jump up, okay? Now I'm going to show you how to go around the row. So you're going to hold on to your strings. You know it's going to come loose. You just try to hold on to it. Try to wrap it around your hands if that's easier to hold a little tighter. You're going to take your right string, which is the string closest, coming out of the bottom, which is the closest to this called a wall bead. All of these beads that we're here currently are called wall beads. So when I say wall bead, that's what I'll mean. You take your string, you go through the first wall bead, which is right here, which is right next to that bead you're crisscrossing. So you're going to go through the wall bead like that. Then, now this is different than this is just making your add-on row. The other one was a jump up. Now we're just adding on another row, or adding on another little bead. So we've put one through the wall. We have our bead currently. Now we're going to add 1 to the left. Remember, we're just adding 1 now. When we jumped up, we added 2 to the left. We're adding 1 to the left, and we crisscross 1. The reason why we only have to go through the wall on 1, add 1, crisscross 1, is because those beads are already there for us. Okay, look again. You know you're doing it right when you have another little foursome. 1, 2, 3, 4. You're creating little triangles on top of that row that you did previously. So once again, I'm going to show you again. You're going to do this same thing I just showed you all the way around 35 more times. 34 more times, I should say. So remember, our right string goes through the wall bead. We pull it through. Our left string gets a bead, just gets 1 bead. And then we crisscross a bead using both of our strings. Okay, pulling that nice and tight. Okay, can you see how we're creating that diamond effects again? You know you're correct when you have all 4 like that, okay? We have that bead crisscross. Once again, we're gonna do that same thing again. I'm gonna show you one more time, and then I'm gonna let you go around the rest of this, and then I'll stop the video and let you finish working. Okay, right string goes through the bead on the right, on the wall. Just stick your little string right through. Hold on, sometimes they come a little. Let me get a little tighter there for you. So right string goes through the wall bead. Okay, pull it tight. And left string gets a bead. And then we crisscross a bead using both of our strings. So we'll crisscross. One goes in one side, the other string goes in the other. And we pull the ends nice and tight. Okay, you see that again? Now it should look like this. You know you're doing it right if you're creating you can see little diamonds going around or little triangles sitting on top of your bead. You see that? And now just continue around with that same motion. Right string goes in the wall, add a bead to the left, crisscross. Go all the way around. Okay? When you get to here on this very last wall bead, you'll stop, and then I'll show you what we do next. Okay. So remember, we started here. We're working on that second row. We jumped up, and now we're adding beads to our row. Now, I wanted to kind of just show you because I was starting to run out of string. See, notice this one's the smaller one, this one's a longer one. It's kind of annoying to work with small and long, so we just cut it off. But I'm kind of getting too small to really do anymore, and you don't want to wait till you have too short of strings and it's really hard to tie a knot. So once again, I'm going to show you, like I did in the first video, when you're running short on strings. Okay, as you can tell, I just went through the wall bead, added one to the left, and I just crisscrossed. Okay, so after you finish to crisscross, this is where you want to stop. So what you want to do is you want to pull the string out of the crisscross so it's close right here, and so you'll have actually 2 beads on the left side and 1 through the wall. Okay, and what you'll do is you'll make a knot right here, and it will actually bring it right together if you watch closely. So we'll just go right over left. And as I pull, see that? It puts that in right back into that little diamond shape that I want. Okay? But I'm going to be putting my knot right here, and we're going to be hiding the knot. Okay? So I just did one little knot. Now we're going to go left over right. Okay? I did right over left. Now we're going left over right. Make sure you keep it tight because you don't want that little slip knot to come out while you're working on that second one. Okay? Or it's going to be really hard. So that's why you want to keep extra long. So what you do is I'll kind of tie it around my fingers and hold it tight and then pull it tight. Because you want that knot to stay nice and tight because that's what's going to keep that little diamond shape going for you. Okay, now remember, if we were to cut off the strings right here, it could actually probably pull our knot out. So I'm just going to take my strings, and you can actually cut them down a little bit shorter, make them even, and then just find a little bead, which I kind of like to go to the backwards toward a bead, and put it through a bead, pull it nice and tight. You can't see the knot, you can't see the strings, and then I'll pull nice and tight, give it some tension, and pull down, and then our strings are hidden in the bead. Our knot will be protected, and we can start a new string. Okay, so the way you start a new string, cut another piece of fishing line, and we'll go in that bead that we were crisscrossed in. So remember this bead right here that we were crisscrossed in, where we tied our knot? Remember how we had the strings coming out both ends? We'll go back in that bead. Let's go back in the top. Sometimes it doesn't want to go in. Sometimes, let's just put it back in through here. Bend it out so we can find it. There we go. Okay, so here we're just going to crisscross. We're going to just take a string, match up the tops. This is where you want to take time to match up those 2 ends. Match up the tops right there as best you can so you don't have uneven strings, and you just keep it like that. So now it's like we have a right and a left string now. But remember, it's going to be loose, so just try to match up your strings so you're kind of even on both sides the best you can by just pulling up to the top. Match your strings up, give it a nice tug down here, and then turn it around, and you can just start working going around. So we'll take the right string over here, goes through the wall again, the previous wall bead, left string, or left, yeah, the left string gets a bead, and we crisscross a bead with our 2 strings. So left goes in one side, right goes in the other, and you pull tight. Okay, and now we just continue going around. We're almost finished. Okay, so I have went all the way around the second row. I finished all the wall, going through the wall with the right, adding one to the left, crisscrossing. Now as you can see, I have one more wall bead that I have not went through. See, we just crisscrossed this one. This one we have not went through yet. Now as you can see, there's not a whole lot of room left, but this is where we have to close the row, or connect the row, connect the end of our row to the first of our row again. So if you can tell when you look at this, here's a bead that it's in, there's our bottom bead, there's our side bead, and then we need to crisscross a bead on the top. So let me show you what we're going to do that. We take that right string, go through that right wall bead, or that wall bead, like we have been previously. This is our very last wall bead. So when you get to the very last wall bead, you put it through the wall bead. Then you're going to put that right string through the first bead right there. It's the side bead, so you can see that. Now if we pull up, can you tell what we're missing here? So there's the bead we were crisscrossed in. We put the right one through the bottom bead. We put the right one through the bead on this side. Now if we crisscross a bead, it should pull this whole thing together. And this is called closing the row. Before you can jump up, you need to close the row. So we're just going to take the one bead and crisscross it. Okay, so I crisscrossed it. Now watch what happens when I pull that down. Closes that row nice and tight. There's our foursome bead. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. We're crisscrossed. We're nice and flat. If you look closely, there's our whole row right there. See, there's our second row. Okay, so now, so the bead is like this. Now I'm going to show you how to jump up. Once the row is nice and flat, we know that we need to jump up to start a new row. This will be our third row. Okay, as you can tell, we have 1 center bead and 2 center beads. We need to get 4 more center beads, so we need to do 4 more rows in order to be done and for it to look like this, to have 6 center rows. Okay, so in order to jump up, remember, jump up, we think of 3 beads, okay, 3 beads. So in order to jump up, we take 2 of the beads, we put 2 beads on our left side, and we take the third bead and we crisscross it. Now what that does, why we use 3 now, is because that's going to help us jump up and form a new row, so we can start going around with a new row. Okay, this is the jump up. After we've closed the row, we have to close the row first. We close with the 1 bead, we jump up with 3. Now if you look really nice and close, look at that. Let me pull it tight. Okay, do you see how we've got a little diamond on top of our row again? Now we are good to go. We take our rows and we start going around. Remember how we go around just like we did all 35 other times on the last row? Right string, because we got a crisscross in this bead, right string goes through the wall bead on the right, pull it tight. When we're doing these little add-on rows, all we need to do is get 2 beads out. 1 goes on the left, and 1 gets crisscrossed. Okay, so once we crisscross this, pull it nice and tight. There we go. There's another little diamond we're doing. So as long as you can see these little diamonds going around like little triangles on top of your beads, you know you're doing it right. Okay, continue all the way around. Continue going through the right string on the wall bead, adding 1 to the left, crisscross. You'll continue all the way around till you get to here. When you have that last row, last bead left, that's when you'll do the closure, where you'll go through that one, the side by add 1 bead, crisscross, then you'll do a jump up to the 4th row. Okay, You can continue this until you get to all 6 of these, okay? Once you have 6 center rows, once again, let me show you how to count the center. You don't count the bottom, you count the center. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Once you have 6 and it looks like this, then you are ready to go on to part 3 of the video series, which will show you how to shape this into the temple and do the top of your temple. All right, there you go.